The world doesn't always ask you to dim your light with force. It does it softly, with rewards for conformity, with silence when you dare to speak truth, with discomfort each time your soul outgrows the room. Schopenhauer saw the quiet pressure beneath society's expectations, the way freedom is feared, not celebrated. You were praised for obedience, not originality. You were taught to shrink in ways that look like politeness, and so you learned to stay small, not out of weakness, but for survival. But your soul does not belong to what is safe. There is a wildness in you that remembers, and in the remembering the cage begins to rattle, not with violence but with the soft sound of something long held finally stretching its wings. Breathe deeply and let us commence this gentle exploration into the vast, intricate architecture that shapes our very being. The world unfolds before us, a grand tapestry woven with the threads of tradition, culture and belief, a masterpiece of subtle designs that mould us from the moment we take our first breath. Beneath this compelling facade lies a quieter agenda, an invisible hand guiding us gently yet firmly into neat, predictable forms. We become travellers on well-trodden paths, journeying through this life built by those who walked before us, their societal expectations paving each step. As we embark on this meditative stroll, we immerse ourselves slowly in an awakening, a mindful unravelling of the patterns that bind us. The philosopher Schopenhauer once whispered of this grand architecture that values predictability over profundity, conformity over authentic truth. Society, like a great silent teacher, instructs us in the language of predictability, where safety is found in sameness, and stepping out of line often leads to isolation. Education, often lauded as the cradle of growth and enlightenment, becomes both sculptor and sculpted, forming our young minds. Subtly it instills a version of knowledge, woven with the biases and traditions of those who came before. Here the seeds of conformity take root, cultivating a garden where individuality blooms only rarely. Students march in step with curricula, virtuosic in their adherence to prescribed paths. Therein lies the quieter rhythm of life, a symphony where creativity and curiosity are often muted in favour of harmony. Like whispers in the wind, social norms, a web of tradition, language and culture, influence the symphony of existence. These unseen rules guide behaviour, maintaining the delicate balance of the collective consciousness. Reaction stems not from words but from an unspoken understanding that prizes acceptance and tranquility over individual depth. Recall moments when laughter broke the silence, drawing a glance or words once free, now bound by unsaid disapproval. These norms, quiet sentinels of our journeys, often remain unchallenged, their authority unquestioned. Their true influence lies in this quiet violence, a force as soft as mist yet as commanding as the sea. Extend your hand into the shadows of self, where unpredictable depths reside. Here fear and shame act as sentinels, guarding the doorways to authenticity. Society, in its pursuit of comfort, falters before those who wander from its path, those who choose authenticity over ease. Through Schopenhauer's lens we perceive this dissonance, understand the discomfort society harbours toward those who refuse to surrender to the narrative. Within the solace of a quiet mind, the battle between obedience and authenticity unfolds, a reflective dance within the soul. Obedience, a revered virtue, offers solace, but obscures self-truths. Schopenhauer's insights reveal the paradox. In the comfort of obedience lies an unvoiced peril, where truth suffocates under the weight of societal expectation. Yet, deep in this silent surrender, Jungian teachings offer refuge, unveiling facets of self hidden within our shadowy layers, longing for light. This call for conformity echoes through generations, a gentle yet firm insistence from parental whispers to governmental decree. Obedience becomes the tapestry upon which our lives are embroidered, and in its name, the obedient are rewarded, while those who defy remain on the fringes. Schopenhauer's musings strip away this veneer, revealing a more complex truth entrenched in societal structure. Within this framework of acceptance, psychological fractures mirror societal obedience. To transcend these invisible borders, the journey inward begins. A healing of self, a harmonizing of fractured shadows into a singular song. The illusion of safety, a cloak we often don without thought, drapes itself across our shoulders, promising shelter from the unknown. Schopenhauer, with his perceptive gaze, pierced this illusion, laying bare the truth hidden in the familiar, the suppression of authenticity beneath this guise of security. Here lies the gilded cage, constructed from collective fear of the unfamiliar, a prison adorned with comfort but devoid of exploration. In the depths of self-inquiry, the narrative of conformity unfurls, undreamt worlds reflecting beneath familiar waters. Schopenhauer beckons us to look past the surface into the depths of personal truth. Within this silent, sacred journey, the self is reimagined, free from conformity's chains. We understand at last the architecture of society silently sculpting our inner selves, urging an embrace of our truth beyond its confines. As the shadows retreat, our intimate dance of autonomy and destiny begins, guided by Schopenhauer's wisdom. It is an inward revolution, not of loud fandom, but of whispered awakenings, a gentle reclamation of self, transcending preordained boundaries. In this sacred space, society becomes the canvas, yet our strokes chart a unique path. As we journey toward the heart of transformation, the walls of our constructed realities fade into gentle horizons. The peace within pulses steady, offering courage to continue beyond the architecture of conformity and into the realm of the genuinely sacred self. Within the subtle fabric of our lives lies an unspoken allure that drapes us in the familiar, whispering promises of ease and belonging. This cocoon of normalcy, deceptively gentle in its embrace, quietly demands that we mould ourselves to fit an agreed-upon template, sacrificing our authenticity on the altar of social acceptance. Society structures, echoing Schopenhauer's contemplations, persuade us to equate normalcy with safety, encouraging gentle compliance over the tumultuous dance of self-discovery. Initially, the cost of entry appears slight. A minor concession there, a small adjustment here. Yet, over time, these choices accumulate like the gentle layering of winter snow, losing the vibrant brilliance of individuality beneath a shroud of indistinguishable sameness. Dwelling within this orbit of comfort can slowly morph into a labyrinth, its exit signs misleading illusions. Each surrender to the seduction of normalcy deepens the path into this maze, inadvertently feeding the silent beast of conformity. The toll, while not immediately visible, is immense. Dreams quietly perish under the weight of unspoken expectations, and untouched potential withers in the routine shadow. This subtle violence often emerges not in bursts of rebellion, but in muted sighs of surrender, the eternal whispers of what might have been. Schopenhauer foresaw this quiet mediocrity prison, perpetuated by a society that clutches tightly to this illusion of contentment, often at the Enlightenment's expense. In choosing the ordinary over the extraordinary, comfort over the creative, We encrypt the soul's cries for authenticity into the sterile script of societal parlance. Comfort, while alluring in its lullaby, demands an unseen toll, the surrender of our untamed edges, where wild creativity thrives. As social beings yearning for shared experiences, we are easily drawn into its tranquil narrative, yet the most profound innovations blossom along untrodden paths. Comfort's tale is woven with complacency's threads, gently detaching us from the serendipity of discovery. It is the calm sea that, while smooth at the surface, hides treasures in its kilometre-deep silence. In this serene monotony, the soul quietly suffers, sometimes forgotten but never silent. Humanity's great paradox, the comfort sought to alleviate suffering, also numbs our senses to life's full spectrum, anchoring us to a shallow shore rather than freeing us into imaginative exploration. The cost reveals itself in stagnation, a pervasive ennui, a haunting awareness that life's profoundest truths dwell in courage, in stepping beyond familiar boundaries. Innovation and authenticity reside in discomfort, a necessary friction sparking creativity's flares. As existence grows too comforting, the spirit stagnates under predictability's lilting lullaby. Schopenhauer noted humanity's tendency to choose numbing comfort over self-expansion's revelatory but turbulent voyage, preferring the tepidity of present certainty to the unpredictable dance of becoming. In seeking comfort's haze, we risk remaining on the fringes of a life more fully embraced. The quiet violence extends deeper, layered by society's preference for silence. In this collective twilight, where unspoken accords often outweigh liberating change, voices are stifled before reaching audibility. The ongoing silencing of our true selves becomes a tapestry matted with fear, obligation, compliance. Authentic expression daring to breach normativity's walls often meets with censure or dismissal. To possess a volatile opinion or grand vision risks society's uncomfortable lens, making the sheltering normalcy a retreat. The price of unwavering acceptance is the constant softening of our genuineness, the soul's song reduced to a hum. These inner silences fashion a new edifice, unnoticed by its architect until the pattern is complete and the self unheard. Normalcy encourages whispers over resonance, birthing a silence expanding into deeper existential echoes. This quiet violence not only muffles creativity but arrests potential. By muting the herald of our truths, identity fades into the collective ether, our inner compass weakened, a Schopenhauerian tragedy. We become wisps of our potential selves, shadows in a field too careful of true resonance. Even as we trade away authenticity for belonging's illusion, the longing for our true essence settles into an indelible ache. Creativity, boundless in its true form, strains under normalcy's weight, pleading for release. Conformity's shelter dilutes imagination's infinite horizon, tethered by society's limitations. Schopenhauer acknowledged creativity's inclination toward challenging the known, yet norms chisel away daring acts, leaving mediocrity in their wake. Here lies the contradiction. The collective's demand for innovation is thwarted by its resistance to genuine deviation. Individuals limit creativity's breadth to fit cultural confines, draining colour to monochrome. As constraints constrict, creativity's landscape diminishes, yearning for spontaneous liberation. The call is clear: venture beyond conformity's embrace and brave unfiltered creativity's joyful chaos. Navigating social complexity animates the instinctual crafting of facades, masks to shield the self from exposure. These masks honed through habit, transmute into more than defences. They are the faces of normalcy, obfuscating reality while affording protection. The prevalence of these masks echoes society's insistence on conformity. Schopenhauer reflected on humanity's inclination to hide behind facades, revealing the conflict between acceptance and authenticity. Yet masks become skin-tight, obscuring the lines until true identity is backstage. Such masks breed dissonance, subduing the rich inner world beneath external expectations. This quiet violence fractures identity's unity, quieting the soul's authentic voice. As masks multiply, the fragmented self struggles with reflection, its core obscured under layered artifice. Shedding these masks embarks on a liberation journey, a defiance against constraints, awakening buried self beneath normalcy's weight. It takes courage to reconcile this discordance, for only through such reconciliation can true authenticity emerge, heralding profound liberation. In the quiet recesses of the mind where curiosity dances with the shadows of the unknown, independent thought is born. It emerges like a shy dawn, casting its gentle light on the world, once shrouded in the night of unquestioned norms. At this delicate juncture, an individual dares to question the narratives woven by generations, choosing instead to wander into the rich landscapes of personal intellect. This emergence is less an act of rebellion and more an exquisite evolution of consciousness, awakening the mind to its vast, unexplored potential. Here lies the delicate tension between the collective's comfortable illusion and personal truth, nudging the soul toward an inward odyssey laden with authenticity and coherence. Courage, a quiet companion, becomes essential to step away, peering into the kaleidoscope of ideas that paint the universe of perception. Yet from the start, resistance manifests. Society's whispers echo, teaching hearts to value agreement and the warm cloak of continuity over the cold, stark challenge of dissent. From classroom walls to social whispers, the seeds of inquiry find themselves stifled before the first green shoot. Education too often prefers rote over inquiry, tradition over question. Thus, original thinkers navigate upstream, challenging these currents of entrenched belief with fearless inquiries that stir the waters of convention. This awakening of independent thought shifts the soul's stance from passive acceptance to active participation, weaving from life's raw fabric a tapestry of subjective meaning. Society, in its pursuit for order, spins the collective illusion, a shared reality, comforting and predictable, like a well-worn blanket in the chill of night. This tapestry of norms and roles, fashioned from unwritten rules and silent agreements, promises harmony and belonging. It whispers soothing tales into the ears of those nestled within, urging conformity as the balm for collective peace. But original thinkers pose a unique threat, for their questions unsettle this carefully crafted, illusory world. They pierce the heart of these shared narratives, revealing the fragile threads beneath, like a hand brushing aside a curtain to reveal a hidden window. Their presence, though still, unveils truth, prompting re-evaluation and disarray. What follows is the system's defense, through ridicule, skepticism, or silent exclusion, mechanisms designed to reinforce conformity and dismiss radical thought as disruptive. Ridicule, often masked behind smiles and jest, reflects society's fear of change. These whispers of cynicism label the outliers as eccentric, creating an adhesive that binds individuals to the known and comfortable, isolating divergent voices in their solitary explorations. Yet history tells tales of those once mocked who have shaped the world anew, their visions turning ridicule into unwitting flattery. Such thinkers, armed with resilience, linger on the fringes of acceptance, knowing their ideas often lack appreciation until time's embrace lends its clarity. Thus they transform derision into fuel, propelling them forth in their solitary journey of innovation, where their silent steps echo with world-changing potential. Rejection too serves as a reflective mirror, exposing the insecurities of a society clinging to its paradigms. When the community dismisses an original thinker, it resists evolution, refusing the call to leave the shores of familiarity. Rejections, often visceral, betray unease, for they demand us to confront the chaos of uncertainty and embrace the unfathomed. Yet for the thinker, understanding rejection as a societal reflex grants serenity in the face of exclusion. This rejection does not impede but invites growth, a chance for introspection, urging the thinker to anchor themselves in truths beyond ephemeral affirmations. Embraced, rejection morphs into a beacon, guiding the soul deeper into the vast terrains of independent thought. To speak one's truth in a world woven from illusion is to light a flame in a shadowed expanse. It is to invite the world to step into realms uncharted, challenging boundaries of perception with each whispered word. This truth, delicate yet piercing, disrupts comfort, casting the original thinker's vision as dangerous in this landscape of shared myths. The act of unveiling one's truth requires not only courage but a journey into the soul's darker corners, questioning conformity. By braiding authenticity into the fabric of being, thinkers carve paths toward connection rooted in honesty, enriching communities with shared vulnerability. Such original thought extends an invitation to courage, a call to embrace adversity quietly in the tapestry of authenticity. This courage is as much about choosing internal alignment as rejecting external approbation. It leads to dialogues steeped in vulnerability, where the individual dances with fear and uncertainty, discovering a resilience that thrives on the fringes of societal acceptance. Solitude, embraced not as loneliness but a sanctuary, becomes the ally, an expansive silence where ideas, free from interruption, blossom like wildflowers in spring. In this solitude, the thinker finds companionship within their own echoes, fostering self-sufficiency, essential for navigating society's turbulent seas. The embrace of solitude allows the soul to sift noise from truth, discovering perspectives uniquely its own. Solitude, then, nurtures both voice and creativity, unearthing treasures found only in silence. Through inner alchemy, turmoil is transformed, conflict merges into clarity, and resistance becomes resilience. Turmoil becomes a sacred, revealing dance, transforming obstacles into vessels of insight. Amid this inner alchemy lies the silent revolution, an unwavering commitment to truth and authenticity. It seeks not to dismantle but to gently reshape, demonstrating through quiet presence the possibility of inner congruence. Conversations inked in hushed tones, shared in safe sanctuaries, sow the seeds of transformation, subtly shifting collective consciousness. By living authentically, the thinker invites others into a narrative of inquiry, inviting reflections of a world where individual voices enrich rather than threaten. Ultimately, reclaiming thought's power is an act of quiet resistance against confinement within prescribed ideologies. It liberates the mind from the chains of external expectation, inviting individuals into the tapestry of intellectual freedom. This reclamation acknowledges the right to think, question, and conclude, fostering intimate relationships with one's intellect and imagination. As they journey through these waters, ripples challenge conformity, guiding societies toward rich vistas of innovation and creativity. Through this, thought becomes not anomaly, but a herald, illuminating paths toward transformation. Imagine standing before a mirror, only to realise it's not your face looking back, but the reflection of dreams set aside. Envy, as ancient as humanity itself, serves as this mirror, revealing those secret yearnings we have hidden beneath the layers of everyday expectations. Yet rather than a flaw, envy stands as a guidepost, whispering of paths once considered, now forgotten. When envy stretches its tendrils towards someone else's triumphs, it's a silent reminder of our own unlived stories and neglected talents. Carl Jung once suggested that within us lies a map of roads travelled and those left untouched. Envy, then, is not merely a shadow but a bright sign directing attention to these neglected trails. Engaging with envy, not as a source of shame but as a teacher, can illuminate the desires buried under the rubble of societal constraint. By staring into this reflective pool without flinching, we begin a dialogue with our innermost aspirations, allowing for the sort of transformation that touches the deepest recesses of the soul. Unlived lives are not simply dreams postponed. They form a landscape brimming with untapped potential, waiting to be unearthed. The world often mutters stories of comparison, painting pictures where success is a race, a competition edged with silent rivalries. As we watch others unfold into the persons we secretly long to be, envy arises, cloaked not in malice but woven from regret and longing. In a world that champions the visible over the invisible, it is all too easy to mistake this envy for an emotion to be banished, rather than understood as a call to internal exploration. Embarking on this inner voyage reveals that the shadows of our unlived selves need not be eradicated, but embraced. These shadows, Jung would argue, hold the key to personal revelation, urging us to recover what lies dormant. This quest demands we face both the barriers shaped by our minds and the realities shaped by society. It's a courageous undertaking, yet within it lies the promise of living with more authenticity and depth than ever before. Envy, when left unchecked, breeds more suppression, an age-old dance of darkness where personal desires are stifled, only to fester into resentment. In this dance, true authenticity becomes an anomaly, overshadowed by a collective reluctance to step beyond prescribed lines. Yet, as Simone de Beauvoir taught, the freedom of others should enhance, not diminish our own. Recognizing this cycle's existence is the first step in breaking its chains. Acknowledging and dismantling it paves the way for personal reinvention, allowing long-buried interests to surface and breathe life into the stories we now choose to inhabit. Relationships too form a crucible where envy may quietly simmer, often unacknowledged. Within the delicate fabric of social bonds, we may inadvertently dim our light for fear of disturbing harmony. Without conscious intention, friends and loved ones may constrain our growth, perpetuating a dynamic that favours the equilibrium of the known over the fertile ground of the new. By critically examining these ties and recognising envy as a reflection of internal conflict, we transform relationships into nurturing spaces where mutual journeys of growth can bloom, alchemizing tension into strength. Through the alchemy of confronting inner discord, envy shifts from an emotion to be feared into an instrument of wisdom. When we reflect honestly, on the gap between who we are and who we might become. We engage in a process of self-discovery that echoes with the depth of mythic tales. Jung's teachings guide this inward excavation, allowing us to bring forth treasures hidden beneath layers of daily life. This process beckons us to integrate unrealized dreams, weaving desires of the past into the fabric of our present reality. Beneath this journey's surface, a subtle spirit of sabotage whispers, curbing our steps and feeding the cycle of envy. These whispers reinforce safety over boldness, nurturing self-doubt and caution. Jung reminds us that knowing oneself requires mapping both the restrictions we impose and the growth awaiting beyond them. By unveiling these whispers, we dissolve invisible barriers, clearing a path towards a life embraced with honesty and freedom. Embracing envy transforms what once oppressed into a light guiding towards change. Through gentle reflection and tender awareness, envy becomes an ally rather than an enemy, a marker of what is possible. With self-compassion and brave honesty, we can harness envy, turning it into a beacon that illuminates our truest paths. Philosopher Viktor Frankl reminds us that life brims with meaning, portraying envy not as a burden, but as a signpost pointing towards our fulfilled selves. A life lived authentically is a life of profound liberation. It calls on us to discard inauthentic roles and embrace the daring path of self-alignment. This journey, though daunting, rewards us with freedom from the illusions of comparison and conformity, opening doors to genuine fulfillment. Sartre's philosophy of existential authenticity invites us to pursue life with sincerity and intention, free from the shadows of envy. In this way, we design a personal legacy steeped in authenticity and truth, creating a narrative where every moment resonates with the essence of who we truly are. In the quiet corners of our hearts, recognition often feels like a gentle whisper, guiding us as if we're tracing constellations in the night sky. From the tender years of childhood, we are tenderly taught to seek the glow of approval, a lighthouse promising safety and significance. Praise, however, is not always the benign beacon it seems. Beneath its comforting light there are chains, delicate yet enduring, that tether us to another's expectations. When a child, for instance, is praised for being so well behaved, it is an accolade for their compliance over their unique spark. Through Schopenhauer's lens, this quest for external affirmation roots our authority outside of ourselves, whispering command over our decisions in life. As this yearning weaves its way into our being, we find ourselves moulded by it, as clay seeking the hands that will shape it. With praise becoming artful deception, we lose sight of our authentic selves, choosing paths strewn with expectations rather than personal truths. This perpetual desire to remain within the confines of approval may lead us to forgo our more adventurous impulses, quelling the voices that urge us to break free from the monotonous beat of conformity. What once felt like a comforting gaze now forms iron bars around our yearning, painting a persona that masks our true desires, allowing praise to wrap its gentle grip around our core. The soft sheen of humility often tells tales of noble bearing, yet when adorned excessively, this virtue can trap our spirits. True humility bows not in self-effacement, but in a gentle acknowledgement of our place within the vast tapestry of existence. When the world applauds us for this restraint, it often obscures true self-awareness, urging us to mute our brilliance for fear of drowning in the approval that comes clothed as entrapment. Divining a balance between true humility and the chains of societal meekness requires a deep communion with our essence, recognizing that humility demands not the sacrifice of self, but the recognition of our worth within the greater cosmic dance. In realms where agreeableness is a gilded mask, its beauty can cast long shadows on the soul. It beckons us to bend like reeds in the stream, evading the friction of conflict for the gentle nods of acquiescence. Yet, tread too long upon this path, and the mask becomes a second skin, obscuring the vibrant self beneath. The agreeable face may court harmony, but it often stifles the fierce fires of truth and individuality. To transcend this mirage, one must journey inward, seeking to unearth the hidden truths that lie beneath the amiable veneer. The wisdom of Carl Rogers beseechingly reminds us that to find our true selves, we must dare to disrupt the peace. Let our voices rise and our truths be told. Society, with a fervent zeal, exalts the offering of self-sacrifice, a sacred illusion of virtue. It speaks of devotion and holiness, yet wears a hidden face, keeping at bay self-love and personal growth. To walk unchallenged in the world of selflessness is to weave threads of worth through sacrifice, subsuming personal desires under collective demands. Jungian whispers remind us that individuation, the path toward wholeness, involves accepting the dance between self-awareness and altruism. True care is a symphony played in harmony, where boundaries rise and fall with the rhythm of our sovereign heart. Compliments gentle as morning dew can bear the weight of unseen expectations. When they are showered upon us like confetti, they can cement us into a silhouette fashioned by others, a reflection of static perfection held up to the light. With Nietzsche's ponderings of truth and perception casting long shadows, we discover that the brilliance of recognition can form a gilded cage, a sanctuary of stagnant perception. In the echoes of praise, there is a call to tether ourselves to internal compasses, finding solace in the swirling woods of our dynamic nature. Caught in the spectacle of performance, where accolades rain like soft petals, the spirit often travels further from authenticity. The outward indicators of worth become tangible markers, paths defined by achievement rather than being, spotlighting the existential dilemma of being versus doing. This dance with performance distances us from the authentic self, a retreat from the stories engraved in softened internal parchment. Onward, toward authenticity, we must wade through performance's tempered sheen, navigating the presence of imperfection and the mosaic of intrinsic fulfillment. In the gentle circle of feedback, praise dressed as all-encompassing approval becomes a mere echo in the chamber of self-growth. It masks its colours, inviting us to paint within conformity's lines, rather than exploring unexplored vistas of potential. Yet in this guise, feedback holds transformative essence, leading us through the intricate dance of self-discovery, fostering a dialogue that transcends the superficial. Thus unshackled from the steadfast gaze of validation, we return to the quiet strength of our roots, as Schopenhauer's lessons murmur through the currents. Here, nestled in the hearth of intrinsic worth, the bloom of true sovereignty begins to rise, nourished by clarity and personal truth. We become cartographers of our own journeys, footprints tracing the path of harmony and inner conviction. To embrace the profound depths of existence is to honour the evolution that binds us to the continuum of becoming. In this realm, liberate praise from its confines, transforming it from a chain into a gentle bouquet that honours the ever-unfolding wisdom within. In a world often consumed by the clamours of conformity and the relentless pursuit of acceptance, there exists a quiet stirring, an ethereal whisper that calls from the depths of our being. This is the soul's gentle rebellion, beginning in moments of solitude, where the mind untangles from the web of daily demands. In such sacred silence, the inner voice, long dormant and subtle, awakens. It's a fragile murmur at first, akin to the rustling leaves of a forgotten forest, but with each passing day, it grows, calling us to examine the tangle of beliefs and identities we've woven from society's threads. This quiet uprising's unsettling, unravelling the comfortable facade of self-crafted from external validation. Yet, through this soft turbulence arises an opportunity, a call to ponder what it truly means to live authentically, peeling away the layers until only our core essence remains, untouched and pure. It is here in this confrontation with oneself where the true journey begins, a path toward a deeper understanding, revealing spaces within us yearning to be filled with purpose and sincerity. The soul's revolt unfolds gently, distinct from the loud defiance bred by ego. This is not a rebellion for the sake of rebellion. Rather, it is a serene return to one's truest form, free from society's constraints. In this sacred act, we rediscover ourselves, reaffirming our truths, and casting aside the narratives that once kept us shackled. It is a delicate dance, a quiet declaration of personal sovereignty, seeking no validation from the world, but instead finding solace in one's own truths. The soul embarks on an inward journey, where vulnerability becomes strength and authenticity, a guiding light. It is not about altering the world, but honouring one's place within it, moving from a facade of outward conformity to a deep-seated inner congruence. As illusions of ego fade, reality unfolds, revealing freedom in authenticity, a liberation achieved through truth, acceptance, and compassion for oneself. Yet this journey is not without its trials. The revolt of the soul is marked by inner conflict. It is in these tensions that transformation is forged. Old beliefs clash with sudden insights, igniting a flame that purges the untruths we once held dear. Painful as it may be, this is the crucible where transformation takes root, compelling us to embrace conflict not as failure, but as a herald of growth. Here lies the call for courage, to confront fears and shadows that have long slept beneath the surface, now rising as allies in our quest for authenticity. As the soul's revolt brews, an ember upon the winds of internal change, the heart yearns for authenticity, a life free from the burdens of others' expectations. To unchain the true self, we embark on a quest to reclaim our identity, obscured by layers of societal conditioning. In this sacred excavation, we strip away the inessential, uncovering what is real within. Here, discernment becomes key, teasing apart genuine desires from external impositions. Through honest self-reflection and acceptance of our vulnerabilities and strengths, we discover that true empowerment lies not within conformity, but in the embrace of our unique path and purpose. The soul's journey is often solitary, requiring the strength to stand alone. This solitude is not an exile, but a nurturing space where individuality can blossom. In learning to draw strength from within, we recognise that this solitary path, though daunting, leads to greater freedom and fulfilment. Fear of exclusion fades, replaced by the understanding that solitude bestows clarity, offering a crucible for self-discovery, a voyage into the mysteries of our own existence, unravelling the unknown with courage in our hearts. As the soul charts its course, an alchemy of transformation unfolds, fear morphing into courage, doubt into wisdom, anger into understanding. In integrating shadow and light, a balance is struck, nurturing growth and wholeness. This alchemy transcends mere survival, as resilience and empathy emerge from the heartache of adversity. This transformation requires a steadfast commitment to personal evolution, remaining present and engaged with life's journey. Through it all, the soul sheds its previous limitations, emerging renewed and empowered, born anew in the knowledge that the most profound revolutions stem from the heart's quiet defiance. Within the soul's gentle rebellion lies a profound dialogue with the unconscious, a realm rich in symbols and archetypes, whispered guidance from depths untapped by the rational mind. Tapping into this mysterious language through dreams and creative expression, we delve deeper into our psyche, where currents of transformation ripple through the shadows. This communion with the unconscious enriches our awareness, broadening perspectives and deepening the dialogue with our soul's true voice. A pivotal moment arrives when the soul chooses to relinquish control, surrendering to life's natural flow. This is not passivity, but an act of deep trust, a faith in the unfolding journey. In releasing the need to control, we create space for possibilities yet unseen, fostering growth and transformation. Openness replaces rigidity, curiosity overcomes fear. Letting go becomes an act of faith, not only in oneself, but in the journey itself. A recognition that true power lies not in domination, but in harmony with life's rhythm, aligned with the wisdom residing within. In the end, the soul's revolt nurtures a spirit resilient beyond measure, forged in the fires of the journey undertaken. This resilience is not unyielding strength, but adaptability, a capacity to find meaning in life's trials, hope in adversity. As the soul learns to navigate the winds of existence, it draws upon inner resources born from strength and introspection. Over time, resilience becomes a hallmark of this gentle rebellion, a testament to the transformative power of authenticity and truth. The soul's gentle rebellion culminates in the rebirth of selfhood, an emergence into authenticity, aligned with one's essence. This rebirth celebrates the journey from conformity to truth, from fear to liberation. It heralds not an end but a beginning, a continuous evolution of self-discovery. Here lies an invitation to engage with life from a place of authenticity and love, a dance between being and becoming, enriching the tapestry of existence as the soul's quiet voice sings its ancient sacred song. In the quiet corridors of personal growth, the journey begins as a gentle awakening, a dawning recognition of one's own depth, a hidden universe illuminated within. This realization dances on the line between blessing and curse, revealing pathways previously shrouded in obscurity. It urges us to cast aside the familiar roles and societal constructs we've long accepted, challenging us to question the comforting patterns we have enfolded ourselves within. Schopenhauer, with his profound insights, warned of the heavy burden that consciousness brings, an insistent call to courageously face the shadows of our psyche and the normative society has woven into our being. As this awareness sows its seeds, a cascade follows, an interplay of inner and outer conflicts, a gentle storm pressing against the confines of expectation. In the serene interactions marred subtly by tension, our evolving self begins to feel out of sync with the world it once knew. There's a poignant sense of otherness, a shift so delicate yet profound, as loved ones struggle to comprehend or support this journey towards self-actualization. Here, among the junctures of grief, confusion and fear, we uncover the soulful cost of pursuing authenticity in a world that favours conformity over truth. Navigating these waters, we come to understand that relationships, like fragile glass, can crack under the pressure of change. People find safety in predictability, and the roles we've played offer a semblance of stability, complicating our path toward authenticity. This transformation, perceived as a threat, is not birthed from malice but rather from an uncomfortable stasis that our change highlights. Our growth becomes a mirror reflecting the unfulfilled yearnings of others, causing friction and disenchantment. Accusations of change echo in our ears, evidence of how deeply enmeshed personal evolution is with relational expectations. Yet within these fractures lies an opportunity, for in the loss, pain and letting go, there is space for connections more genuine, where our complexity is honoured and our true selves are welcomed with open arms. On this solitary road, where authenticity over acceptance is prioritised, we might find the crowd thinning, the echoes of isolation whispering around us. This path of self-realisation is one of introspection, often requiring a retreat from the societal noise to listen intently to the song within. While this self-imposed solitude might seem like anti-social behaviour, it becomes an essential period of self-definition. It is in these quiet moments that we confront fears and desires, unearthing a deeper, more intricate understanding of ourselves. Solitude, likened to a sacred space, becomes the crucible for transformation. Though wounded by it, we find solace in its embrace, as it delivers us closer to our authentic selves, free from the weight of external expectations. Fear and resistance cast long shadows across our journey, whispering doubts and evoking a primal dread of losing comfort and security. Our psyche recoils from change, seeking refuge in the safety of the known, manifesting resistance through self-sabotage and clinging to old patterns as though to a lifeboat in a storm. Yet the path forward requires not the conquest of fear, but learning to coexist with it. By recognising its presence, we prevent fear from dictating our choices, transforming it from foe into guide. In the demands of conformity, tension thrives between our desire for authenticity and the impulse to fit in. As we step into our full selves, judgment and alienation from those who preferred us small becomes a tangible risk. Yet through facing these fears, we reclaim our narrative, probing resistance to uncover deep-seated beliefs and creating space for healing and growth. This journey implores us to embrace fear not as an enemy, but as a guide, nudging us toward the exquisite freedom we seek. Letting go, a necessary act of surrender, is fraught with grief, a mourning for the former self and the familiar worlds left behind. This transition, laden with nostalgia, speaks to the profound power of transformation, where release becomes a fertile ground for renewal. The pain of past selves sheds like old skin, allowing space for new opportunities and insights to flourish. With tenderness and compassion, we honour the past's role in shaping us while stepping forward with curiosity into new realms of potential. In this sacred evolving dance, vulnerability blossoms as a powerful ally. To live authentically is to embrace imperfections and uncertainties, to stand without the armour of pretension. Vulnerability, though initially daunting, becomes a wellspring of liberation, inviting deeper connections and understanding in its wake. Through this openness, genuine interactions are nurtured, enriching both personal and shared human experiences. Amidst the trials and triumphs, unforeseen gifts emerge, the realisation of strengths, suppressed desires unearthed, latent potentials awakened. Our understanding of ourselves and the world deepens, woven with a sense of purpose and unity. empathy and compassion flourish as our insights expand, fostering connections rooted in authenticity and presence. Through challenges and triumphs, personal growth continually surprises with unforeseen gifts. Each step unwraps deeper self-understanding, weaving our lives with renewed purpose and clarity. Our journey fosters empathy, revealing the complexities of human nature. In this dance of becoming, we celebrate boundless potential, rejoicing in the possibilities that emerge when we wholeheartedly embrace the path of authentic selfhood. In the quiet corridors of philosophical pursuit, solitude arises as both companion and challenger, a dance of opposites in the quest for deeper understanding. The life of Schopenhauer offers us a portrait of this duality, where choosing the path of solitude became a necessity, intertwined with the inevitability of misunderstanding. Within his chosen seclusion, he found clarity, a sanctuary where ideas could breathe free from the constraints of societal judgment. Yet this isolation carried the weight of being perpetually misunderstood by a world not yet ready to receive his thoughts. In these silent spaces, the seeds of profound insight take root, slowly unfurling in the fertile ground of solitude, untouched by the noise of conformity. Solitude, then, is a quiet ally that allows the whispers of intuition to rise, morphing what might begin as loneliness into a refuge, a hallowed space for growth and learning. When the soul withdraws from the cacophony of the outside world, an invitation to truths unspoken emerges, truths that dare to defy norms and embrace the misunderstood nature inherent in genius. Schopenhauer's journey illustrates how removing oneself from external validation lights the path to personal truth, a truth that doesn't need the stamp of societal approval to hold its weight and power. The burden of genius, that constant shadow of being misunderstood, marks those who tread the untouched trails of thought. Schopenhauer, whose ideas were often dismissed in his lifetime, now stands as a beacon of existential insight. This dissonance between original truth and societal acceptance can provoke inner storms, yet there lies a calling to express what is known, to voice those novel ideas even when they stand alone against the tide of mass approval. To walk this path demands courage, the courage to challenge, to reflect truths to a society uneasy under their gaze. In this chasm between what is misunderstood and what is personally known, there arises a unique clarity, a gift birthed of silence and sustained by solitary reflection. Schopenhauer journeyed into these depths, touching the core of universal truths, engaging with the very fabric of existence in ways that societal noise often muffles. This loneliness births clarity, an ally to those who dare explore it, turning societal misunderstanding into a transformational force for those willing to engage deeply with their own consciousness. In the process of embracing one's misunderstood nature, there lies a profound opportunity to view the world through eyes unswayed by the majority, discovering insights that ignite possibility. To welcome this perspective means to turn what others see as a burden into a firmament of strength. For it is in the non-consensus that true innovation arises, born from those with the resilience to hold steadfast in their visions, unabashed by the contradictions they face. To embrace the gift of solitude is to gently let go of the shackle of societal validation, finding freedom not in detachment from life itself, but in the relinquishment of the need for approval. Through this act, we acknowledge our intrinsic worth, untainted and deeply anchored in personal sovereignty. Schopenhauer imparted this liberating wisdom, showcasing that true liberation emerges when detachment from society's expectations clears the path to true self-embrace. In transcending the echoes of judgment, one enters a garden of introspection, where judgment transforms from a barrier to a doorway, offering passage to deeper self-reflection and compassion. Schopenhauer's philosophy shows us that judgment is merely the projection of shadow, a mirror of unrest and fear, revealing more about the other than those they seek to silence. Through the languid exploration of one's inner landscape, the misunderstood soul embarks on a pilgrimage of self-discovery, mapping unexplored corners of their being. With patience, Schopenhauer invites us to land softly within our own complexities, identifying the invisible strings of societal influence that bind us. It is amid this journey that individuality blossoms, compassionately enriching our sense of personal belonging, in contrast to societal narratives. Resilience forged in the quiet fires of misunderstanding and seclusion stands as a testament to the strength found in adversity. Schopenhauer faced this tension against societal norms, transforming this challenge into a vessel of enduring philosophical resolve. Navigating such waters demands an intimate embrace of personal authenticity, carving a path through life with grace and silent fortitude, where misunderstanding becomes a herald of inner power. In pursuing meaning untethered from society's gaze, the narrative shifts from external expectation to something richly personal. Vivid with the colours of individual aspiration, Schopenhauer's sensed alignment with inner truth paints a tapestry of personal fulfillment, a journey not dictated but chosen. As inner wisdom blossoms, space arises for authenticity, a living, breathing narrative illuminated with intention, where authentic expression flourishes, setting lives alight with inspiration and purpose. Thus, in the great dance of misunderstanding, a transformative journey unfolds, fueled by authentic exploration and connection. Schopenhauer's legacy sketches a path to transcend societal limits, inviting us to embrace our truest selves despite societal dissent. Walking this path doesn't only bring wisdom and depth to our own lives, but cultivates a legacy of authenticity, enriching the world with vibrant hues of truth and change. In the quiet heart of human experience lies the profound notion of inner authority, an ancient treasure hidden beneath the layers of societal noise. It is a realization that transcends mere titles and accolades, born from the harmony of one's soul and the integrity with which one lives. This sacred authority is not gifted by the hands of others, but is cultivated through an intimate dialogue with oneself, exploring depths unseen and potential yet untapped. In a world so easily led astray by the clamour of external demands, rediscovering this inner authority becomes an act of silent rebellion, an expedition into the mysterious corridors of consciousness, where our truest selves reside, waiting in gentle expectancy. As we embark on this journey, we begin by unravelling the influences that have long moulded our perceptions. From the earliest whispers of childhood, we are enveloped in a web of expectations and norms, which quietly inscribe upon us stories of what success and power should mean. Here lies the paradox of control. The outside equates authority with domination, while true inner authority flourishes in the mastery of oneself. This path requires courage, an unfaltering heart willing to face fears and vulnerabilities often cast into the shadows. By embracing these hidden aspects, we carve a way toward a life unfettered by societal validation, rooted instead in an unwavering personal truth. In this pursuit, we confront the alluring illusion of safety found in conformity. the world extends a comforting hand, offering the promise of security in the blessing of the familiar, where uniformity is mistaken for peace. Yet this seeming serenity often masks an inner erosion, a quieting of dreams and dulled authenticity, all sacrificed on the altar of fitting in. True fulfillment whispers from beyond this veneer, found not in the comforts of the collective, but in the courageous journey of self-discovery. Safety, after all, is not built on the praise of others, but in the deep understanding and trust of oneself. Reclaiming one's power demands an audacious heart, a soul willing to turn from the external narratives that seek to bind and craft a story uniquely its own. This is not the arrogance of defiance, but the pursuit of authenticity, where courage is defined not by the absence of fear, but by advancing despite it. As we untangle the knots of self-doubt, forged by years of external conditioning, we illuminate the path with the light of truth and unwavering self-belief. Step by step, we chip away at the doubts, transforming them with compassionate inquiry and reflective stillness, until a new foundation of self-confidence emerges. The lure of external validation is a siren's call to which many succumb, a deceptive measure of worth that ultimately leaves us wanting. It binds us to the judgments of others, shaping identities upon fragile opinions. To transcend this, we must look inward, nurturing a self-acceptance that flourishes independently of accolades. This inward gaze is not seclusion, but liberation, granting us the freedom to define ourselves by our values, passions, and desires, unfiltered and untainted by the world's expectations. Solitude becomes a cherished companion in this dance with inner authority, offering a haven of introspection and revelation. Untouched by the cacophony of constant interaction, we listen closely to our innermost voices. Far from loneliness, solitude becomes a sacred quest for meaning, letting us shed the outer influences to hear the symphony of inner truth. In silence, we recalibrate, align, and find clarity, guiding us to a life imbued with purpose and direction, approaching connections not from need, but from a place of wholeness. Letting go becomes a gentle art of liberation, shedding attachments and the illusion of control. Through the grace of release, we unburden ourselves from the constraints imposed by rigid expectations, allowing life to flow through us with freedom and possibility. The act of letting go is not resignation but wisdom, accepting the uncertainties of existence and finding strength in adaptation. In surrendering, we reclaim personal power, free from the weight of conformity, ready to thrive with authenticity. As this journey unfolds, true sovereignty emerges, a state of self-governance where internal authority harmonizes with the world outside. This is not a retreat from others, but an empowerment within one's domain of influence, making choices that resonate deeply with the soul. Sovereignty recognizes inherent worth, requiring no external gift or recognition. It speaks through boundaries that protect and nourish, fostering growth and nurturing the wisdom of self-mastery. It is a life lived fully, ruled by authenticity and courage, where the heart's desires chart the course of destiny. In this dance between inner wisdom and outer action, clarity distilled from introspection finds expression in the world. Each step taken aligns with profound truths, crafting a life of coherence where action mirrors belief. Through conscious integration, our insights shape interactions, forging paths rich with meaning, powered by the authenticity of a soul liberated. Thus becomes a tale not just of individual transformation, but of collective awakening. an endless ripple of possibility and change, inviting one and all to embrace their own journey, weaving together a tapestry of humanity grounded in reverence and love. In the theatre of life, we learn early that the script we follow is composed of invisible lines, binding us within narratives of constraint. These roles and expectations, draped upon us like cloaks, shape ideas of success and worthiness. As children, we wander through labyrinths of prescribed paths, believing these walls are solid and eternal, urging us toward conformity. These limits, born from collective agreement, craft an illusion, one seemingly permanent yet as transient as morning mist. But as dawn warms the earth, a change in perception begins. If we look closely beyond these shadowed boundaries, we perceive them not as immovable truths, but stories we can rewrite. Liberation thrives in this awareness, realizing that these external walls merely reflect internal acceptances. It's not a rebellion of anger. Rather, it is the gentle unveiling of authenticity, a soulful emergence. It is here that we step beyond the frames, seeing that the life's true expanse stretches far beyond society's dictates. Reclaiming our space in this vast world turns into an act of returning to one's inherent right to be. Too often society misconstrues this as arrogance, urging us to shrink, to blend into smaller corners, mentally and emotionally. Yet to occupy space authentically, one must connect with an inner power that rests in humility and certainty. By acknowledging our worth and presence, we stand unswayable, driven by inner truth rather than the approval tethered to outer voices. True sovereignty is deeply entwined with awareness and authenticity. It does not scream for triumph. It exists quietly, demanding nothing but effortlessly commanding attention through pure being. In aligning with our truth, we rewrite the script from one of societal acceptance to one of rich, personal intent. Facing misunderstanding becomes a ritual of growth, emerging from such encounters stronger, affirming the unyielding spirit within us. Nurturing an ecosystem of inner harmony allows this authenticity to thrive. Within reside aspects of ourselves: the child, the sage, the warrior, the peacemaker, all contributing their wisdom. Collectively, they weave the soul's colourful tapestry, clearing the path for a life unfettered by external constraints. This harmony births resilience, the strength to embrace life's dualities with grace and profound understanding. The journey toward this balanced self isn't devoid of obstacles. It demands facing and integrating internal conflicts, reconciling desires and fears into a cohesive self that grows and transforms continuously. Through this creative process, personal growth blossoms, crafting a life where external limitations lose their potency. This integration becomes the bedrock for unrestrained expression, turning inward harmony into outward vibrance. In this journey, perfectionism appears as the iron cage that binds potential. Worshipped as virtue, it instead ensnares us in loops of dissatisfaction and doubt. Embracing the imperfect journey liberates, acknowledging that each step, each misstep is a stitch in life's tapestry of growth. Each perceived flaw, whether failure or triumph, becomes a vital satin thread in our story, encouraging openness and adaptability, sculpting a flexible, creative existence. Life beyond the frame reveals itself as adventure, a dance with the unknown, inviting us to unfold with curiosity amidst the swirling mists of uncertainty. Embracing imperfections gently leads us to encounters with kindness, transforming life's moments into powerful catalysts of personal evolution, enriching our experience of living expansively. Solitude, mistakenly equated with isolation, is where this journey deepens. Alone we meet our truest self, stripped of external noise, walking vast inner landscapes with openness. Here lies the root of genuine self-reliance, fostering trust in one's own insight and intuition. Solitude unearths hidden aspects, challenging us to grow, crafting lives aligned with deeply held values and desires. This solitary reflection demands bravery, yet it unveils the stepping stones toward profound self-discovery and empowerment. By gradually dismantling internalized illusions, we chart courses toward lives rich in authenticity, setting the stage for potential unfettered by past frames. Amidst this unfolding journey, societal acceptance may whisper at the fringes, posing questions of belonging. The courage to affirm one's truth becomes resilience, an adaptable force structured by understanding that societal approval is often transient. By untethering from its expectations, we claim our power, navigating the world with inner conviction as our guide. Resilience is no armour for life's storms, but a flexible, living force that morphs through experiences, each encounter fortifying our essence. Guided by inner truth over societal acclaim, a vast world of possibility opens, freed from life's frames, urging us instead toward authentic horizons. Within this expansive canvas, the dance of presence and impermanence unfolds, reminding us of life's perpetual flow. Embracing impermanence invites us to fully reside in the moment, shedding past regrets and future anxieties. Presence anchors us in the now, a salve for the soul as its insights guide our expansive journey. By engaging in life's dance, we learn to marvel at its vibrant possibilities, crafting realities with bold strokes of authenticity. Beyond confined scripts, life breathes as a potent, evolving creation, a rhythmic embrace of transformation. Within this path, connections crafted with intention anchor and nurture us through love and mutual respect. These lifelines exist beyond superficial approval. They recognise true potential, encouraging open-hearted sharing. In such connections, growth thrives, empowering us to move beyond familiar frames toward authenticity. Here, truth breaks through illusion. Together we embark on journeys of genuine expression and connection. Rituals intertwine, rooting and rising us, aligning actions with core values, paving the way for mind and heart to seamlessly integrate, crafting spaces where transformation springs ever anew. Embracing open horizons becomes a commitment to evolution, a daring step into boldly lived truths, infinitely varying landscapes of possibility. Together, we move beyond the frame, living expansively, embracing the rich tapestry of existence as the dance continues, inviting you to journey with us. If this exploration resonates, we invite you to like, subscribe, and share this space of growth and reflection.